Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of TPM Jake's Mind Lens. I'll just position my camera properly. There's something going on. Yeah, so this is a sequel to my previous video on intelligence and suffering. Intelligence is suffering. So let's take a different perspective to this same problem. Intelligence is suffering. It's not, it can be. Once you're intelligent enough, you will see the suffering in the choice you've made. Let's go. Intelligence is suffering, yeah? Picture falling in love, the concept of falling in love. I don't care who you are watching this. At some point, you should have or must have, may have, might have experienced some form of falling in love. And if you've had your heart broken, even better. Sorry you had your heart broken, but I'm going somewhere. Stick with me for a second. So, intelligence is suffering, yeah? Intelligence is suffering. Now, if you have ever fallen in love, had your heart broken, you've been cheated on, you've been hurt, whichever form the hurt came, beautiful, you will relate to this more than anyone else. If you've not, you can imagine. Trust me, if you've never had a heartbreak, you cannot talk about heartbreak if you've never felt heartbreak. So where am I going with this? Intelligence is suffering, yeah? Intelligence is suffering. Now let's analyze it from this perspective. If you look at it from the perspective of everyone you fall in love with, I don't care who, I don't care when, where, everyone you fall in love with at some point will hurt you. That is a standard fact we both have to accept. Wherever you are watching this on the other side of the screen, it's an established fact. Everyone you fall in love with will hurt you in some form. But now the question begs, did they really hurt you, or were they just being themselves? That is where it gets interesting. I can't say which is which. So sometimes when you feel so, I've been betrayed, I'm disappointed, calm down, take a deep breath and evaluate the situation. Were these individuals just being themselves? Because every time someone, quote unquote, betrays, hurts you, you have to evaluate, like, okay, are they really doing this for me? Or is there something about themselves going on? We can't tell which is which, yeah? So, at the end of the day, intelligence is suffering, yeah? But, it can be a key, a vital key. So, my own take on this, and the take I'd share with you is simple. Instead of allowing yourself to suffer for someone's sake, I don't know who the question is, who is involved in this, your best perspective, your best bet is to, one, set clear boundaries. For instance, when you're falling in love, set clear boundaries. This is the limit of suffering I'll take, because regardless of who you fall in love with, you will suffer. So this is the limit to the suffering I'm willing to take. I won't take someone speaking to me disrespectfully. I won't take this, but don't make these things unrealistic, but set clear boundaries. Set clear boundaries and make sure there are consequences when those boundaries are crossed, because there's a different conversation for that one. I'll have that a separate video about why there should be consequences for crossed boundaries. So set clear boundaries. The next thing is open your eyes. I know your heart is in love. I know you're in the honeymoon phase, as it is called. I know your mind, the chemical cocktail flowing through your body and your brain is exploding. But open your eyes. I promise you, they're still working. Look at the individual. See them as a whole. I'm a nurse. So in nursing, we have person-centered care. How I will care for Mr. Jack is different from how I will care for Mr. Jack. Even though they bear the same name, they could even be twins, but they have separate individual needs. See the person as a complete individual. Don't lie to yourself. There are the signs. Every time someone tells me, oh, I had an abusive ex, the signs were there. If you set it as a standard, because I can link a video. I saw a video once. I don't know if I can find it again. I'll link it to this. A man was stabbed twice in the face, stabbed in the neck by the same lady, and every time the cops arrested her, he tried to get her out of jail. Make that make sense? I know trauma bonding and other bits and pieces are there, but then he didn't set clear boundaries and he didn't make sure there were consequences. Like I said, a whole different video on that. But where am I going with this? See the individual wholly for who they are. You now decide, what am I willing to tolerate? What am I willing to endure? Do you get? If the individual meets the criteria of what you're willing, it's not like you're looking for a job. I know some people will feel I'm making this too formal. Those are the kind of vocabulary I'm used to. If they meet and they're headed to where you're headed in life, if their goals and your goals somewhat align, do you get? So for instance, you have a partner who wants to travel abroad, you want to stay in the country. It's worth having a sit down to talk. That is the major decision. You have a partner who wants children, you don't want children, or maybe not yet. It's worth sitting down before the big ring of the question of will you marry me is even popped. You have a perspective on finances, different thing. You have to sit down and analyze this. Not just this concept does not apply to marriage alone, it applies to every form of relationships, friendships, any form of interaction you're doing. Do we share a similar goal in mind? Like I have a sister, yeah, my sister Tessie. She has a concept. She said she doesn't do business with people, or she doesn't have close friendships with people who don't pay their tithe, because she feels if you can cheat God by not paying your tithe, you can cheat her. So she doesn't want to keep you close. That's a perspective. So does she set a boundary for this? I personally don't know. It came out in a conversation. Does she make sure there are consequences when an individual does not, like, you understand, hold up to their own end of a bargain? You understand? I've seen people who stop doing business with an individual simply because they found out they were cheating on their partner. I know for a fact I've seen people who did that. And the guy was like, what does that have to do? Yeah, if you could cheat on a woman you claim you love, you would do worse to me. Where am I going with this? See the individual for who they fully are. Then decide accordingly. You are intelligent enough to know you will suffer. You should be intelligent enough to see them for who they really are. Now I've seen them for who they really are. Am I willing to take this? If you're willing to take that, good and fine. What will happen is, inevitably, in every relationship there's friction, yeah? So that friction, you guys rub against each other until you guys start wearing off each other, just like sandpaper and wood. The wood is not the only thing being worn off. The sandpaper gets worn down as well. So at the end of the day, two things will either happen. Either the friction becomes too much and there's too much heat and tension, both parties pull away, or one party pulls away, one tries to follow up. So avoidant attachment style, and all those attachment styles is another topic we can discuss another day. But where am I going with this? If that individual pulls away, the other one pulls away, or this one chases and gives up, and they separate, that's one way. Another way is, because of this friction, there has now been a reshaping of the individual's character, behavior, and tendencies, and their propensities. Therefore, they can now better integrate like a pair of gloves suited for a particular hand. Does that all come together? So to bring this back full circle, intelligence is suffering, but that same intelligence can help you identify a way out. So this is just a different perspective on the same topic, but it's just a different way to look at it. But I promise you, don't let that suffering be the end of it. Use that same tool you have. You already have the intelligence. You're already suffering. Make something out of it. It can be a blessing, not a curse. See them for who they truly are. See them for who they completely truly are, and make a decision accordingly. Because as a nurse, I always go back to my nursing, my nursing steps. If I see a situation, I decide accordingly based on what I'm seeing. A patient has an ingrown toenail or an ingrowing toenail in the process. My next thought, I'm calling a podiatrist. Oh, a patient has, I don't know, is showing symptoms of mental symptoms. I'm considering, okay, do I need to get the community psychiatric nurses involved? You get? So that decides which specialists I get involved. GP, CPN, do you get where I'm coming from? Community psychiatric nurses, and whichever form of escalation I decide to take will be dependent on what I am seeing. So what you're seeing will decide, can I stay? Can I tolerate this? Do I have to go? Yes. Do I have to stay? Yes. That will decide based on what you're seeing. So at the end of the day, that will be all. The key takeaways from this should be: 1, intelligence is suffering, is inevitable, but it can be beneficial. 2, set clear, I didn't stutter when I said this, set clear boundaries. It is absolutely vital you set clear boundaries. Then 3, look at the individual wholly. Don't look at the good sides, the bad sides, no matter how much the cocktails of hormones are rushing in your blood. Stare them down, not physically, but just like metaphorically. Stare them from the crowns of their head to the soles of their feet. Do a scan, character, personality, everything. Can I work with this? It's a raw material. Can I work with this? Is this too crude for me? Am I skilled enough? Do I need more skills? There are different things that come into the mix. But if you know for a fact you can't work with this, if you know for a fact you don't know where to get help to work with this, your best bet, let it go. It's difficult. I've been there. I've done that. I've cut people out of my life that some I let go with tears. There's some I still know for a fact I wish we had a closer bond. But I know for a fact they're not headed where I'm headed. It's a difficult decision. I promise you it's going to be one of the toughest decisions you've ever made. But I had to set those boundaries, and I had to give a bit of distance. And sometimes it doesn't have to be a full separation. It could just be someone you just downgrade from a friend, like a typical Nigerian will call everyone, oh, my friend, my friend, my friend. So you could just downgrade them from a friend to an acquaintance and what have you. So that's it on today's episode, guys. On today's episode of TPM Jake's Mind Lens. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have a different analogy or scenario to share? I would love to know, because at the end of the day, we're all learning from each other. So see you next time on another episode of TPM Jake's Mind Lens. Thank you. Like, follow, subscribe, and share.